Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, Meathead. The program was easy for Marcus because he's a great salesman. The program is harder for Andres because he can't give away sex. The program is, I didn't think it was hard. I mean, I just didn't. Because I'm arguably a world-class salesman. But you don't have to be. You got the little Nazi nurse. Oh, he does it through brute force. You got the pig fucker who does it through brute force. Andreas is just, he's a good executive, but he's a shitty salesman. Questions, comments? Yes, sir.
While running the businesses, when you get like a manager in place for, like, for example, home health, do you just jack up the places with really good salespeople to just increase the revenue like crazy?
No, well, first of all, real good salespeople won't come to work because they can make more money someplace else. A mediocre salesman today makes between $500 and $1 million a year. Mediocre. So why are they going to come to work for you? They're not. Unless you give them a piece of the action, a piece of the equity. Okay. But mediocre salesmen can never sell their business. Even making that kind of money. A good salesman, today's market, makes $3 to $5 million a year. Top notch, top 5% guy like I used to be. So you're not going to get, And plus, you got to teach them that you don't need equity. You got to go through all this shit. And the downside of the program is you got to re-explain this motherfucker 1 billion times. And you got to go back to your chairman and your board and re-explain it to them 400 million times. Because it's not part of that DNA string. If you find somebody that understands it straight out of the blocks, they're doing it themselves. But what you need is people that, and salesmen that have been selling too long in the tooth, you can't retrain them. The ones you can retrain are 20 to 25. That's it. You just can't. But all you need to know is fundamental sales 101. And most of the kids and yourself don't know how to ask for the order, 1. And 2, when they say yes, you can't keep your fucking mouth shut. You keep selling. And when I used to say, yes, I'll blow you. That was it. That was the last word out of my mouth. I didn't say anything else. Throw him like a caveman over my shoulder, wherever I was, if it was in a park, and that's it. But you can't believe it when they say yes. I'm not talking about the blowjob, but you probably can't believe that either. But and you are who you hang around with. There's not many terrific salesmen out there. So it's hard to learn. But you don't have to be a terrific salesman. Andreas, with the greatest respect, as he said early on, my sales skills were shitty. My communication skills were mediocre. Actually, his communication skills were good. But his sales skills were shitty. But you don't have to. You just, remember? Where the fuck are they? The cards, the templates. That's it. Even you, if you read it 1 million times, now that's exaggeration, you'll get it. Remember I said the first day, and I remember I was looking at you, Mr. Belgian Waffle here, I said, all you have to learn is 25 to 30 phrases. Remember I said that? And I said, if you're not too smart, 30. If you've got any kind of skills whatsoever, 25. And remember I said, like a politician, you're only going to have 5 or 6 bullet points, and you're going to say the same answers to no matter how many questions they ask you, the same fucking 5 or 6 answers. That's it. How many times do you hear a politician, he answers the question, well, he didn't answer the question, did he? Well, that's what I was going to say about you, little fucker. I mean, he didn't answer the question. It doesn't matter if you answer the question. You're getting your agenda out. You're getting your points out. And to see, I look at you, you laugh and you smile, but it's not funny, God damn it. But if you do it, you're going to make $1 jillion. A lot of gifted athletes are stupid. They have low IQs, but they know how to run the 40 and 4-1 or what, you know. And so, I mean, the kids, but it's hard. I mean, it's fucking hard, you know. And remember, I said, if you're an accountant, a lawyer, scientist, you know, a PhD, all those multi-degree kind of guys and gals, it's harder for you because this is not a linear model. When you're an engineer, you learn how to build a little shit first and then a little bigger shit. And we had a world-class bridge builder here years ago from Romania. I mean, he's built big fucking things. And he said that the problem is, well, if you're just a chicken shit engineer, Mr. Peña, you know, and it falls to shit, maybe 2 or 3 people will die. Me, 4,000 or 5,000 are going to die. That was his excuse for being slow. Well, God knows he was slow. There was no bullshit about that. But this isn't this model. There's one fucking moving part. Why is it so hard? I know it's hard because it's the only thing that you ever looked at that had one thing, you guys, was your little pee-pee, and you haven't been able to stick it in anybody. Well, if it's one thing, and that's exactly how they think, gals. Well, if I haven't been able to get my pee-pee in any number, you know, I'm afraid of one moving part because so far my one moving part hasn't done shit. I can't make it any more vulgar. That's it. Have you been laid 45,000 times like me? You know that one moving part, it's got a mind of its own. I can't make it any more graphic. It's just, I mean, and why is it, not just you, it pisses me off. You got, you know, one guy in the seminar is going to, well, fuck, I'm only 2,000 cold calls away. And I'm surprised nobody's asked me about that yet. You've blocked it out of your mind. You don't want to, you know, 2,000 cold calls. I mean, if I had to make 2,000 cold calls in a week, I'd run in front of a bus. Back when I was doing this. I mean, literally. And Sally and I both say, we've been rich and we've been poor. And we'd rather be dead than not rich again. Dead. As God is my witness, as precious as I think life is, I'd off myself. I ain't going through that shit again. And again, some of you people, not just you, I don't understand how you can live being so poor. I don't know why the fucking suicide rate isn't higher. We had 1 attempted suicide and 2 nervous breakdowns in that group. For real. Some people that have never seen how the other half live, it's not the other half, it's the other 0.5% live. I mean, when you get to Edinburgh, you want to jump off the fucking plane. Because when you go back to your cold water flat, they don't have cold water flats anymore, but they used to have cold water flats, and the way you kept your milk cold is you put it out on the windowsill. And you've left here, I mean, that's a motherfucking quantum leap. And although I was naive, and I'm a lot of things, but I'm not naive, I was naive enough to think that when people see how, you know, a poor kid like me, like that picture over there with me, the pistols on my little body, well, fuck, if he can do it, right, you know, it hasn't worked out quite that way, and that's why it's taken so long. But, I mean, Thomas is just a regular guy. He got a degree in French, which doesn't mean shit. He went to a great school, University of Toronto. That does mean thing. It does mean something, and I had the privilege of speaking there a few years ago. But he's a good salesman. He's a good salesman. But he follows the scripts and he has faith in the program. Now, it's easier for him to have faith in the program because he's a holy roller, you know. He's a Bible thumper. I'm not taking anything away from Bible thumpers, but I mean, it's, you know, when you believe in something, it's easier to believe in maybe something else, is what I'm trying to say. And he's done a terrific job. He has. He has. But his management skills are seriously lacking. But he can suck people into the vortex. Questions or comments about Thomas's abilities or the lack thereof? We don't need to talk about a divine power like he does. But yes, sir.
I personally have no issue with cold calls. It's clockwork for me. But I looked at, Michigan and assisted living. I haven't gotten the full numbers, but let's say there's 100, 200. How are you going to be able to make 1,500 cold calls with only 200?
Because you're not going to get through to them the first time. Some people you're going to have to call 40 times. If it was that easy, I would have 20 trillion. But some people, you're going to have to call a lot more than once. Now, I never, some guys would call girls and hound them and, stalk them. And I didn't go through any of that shit, okay? But, ask a girl out 9 times, flowers, and then they finally marry her 9 years later. I wasn't one of those guys. But I was a hammer closer from my dating days to now. And the old adage, I don't know if they still say it, you can attract more flies with honey or some bullshit. No. There's a reason that hatchet's up there, and there's a motherfucking reason that hammer's up there. Because I didn't believe, time is money. See, the problem is, or the challenge for you, your time you don't believe is worth anything. That's why you're so fucking slow. I get paid 10,000 pounds an hour for me to noodle a project. That's $14,000 an hour. And I'm underpaid. And people still pay me. There is no algorithm yet. 50 years of transactional experience in the fucking world. None. There's not 5 people on the planet that have done as many deals as I have. There's really not one. But I say 5 because it sounds better. And that is encapsulated in this program. And that's why the program continues to change. Now, we could give you all Thomas Maguire super hitters to look at, and you would relate to none of them. We give you a potpourri to try to soften the blow. And it's not right to bring the retarded guys on and put them on camera, but some of you would fall into the retarded category, so don't laugh so fucking loud. But it is. It's simple. Remember, 50,000 cold calls between the years. Remember? And I don't like doing that because I'm making fun of the poor kid. But he's the one laughing at you. Believe me. Just like the 15, 16-year-old. When we had the young kids come to the seminar, which we have not recently, on graduation night, and which you're going to experience in a couple of days, and we asked the kids to talk, say something. And so we're not spoon feeding them the answers. Well, okay, what is it that you noticed? And we tell them not to mix with you, not to talk to you. What is it when you're sitting in a library, wherever, and in different ways, virtually all the little kids, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, say the same thing, slightly different ways. Well, Mr. Peña, it's amazing how, in general, adults that have done nothing with their lives can make it sound like they've done something. I almost fainted. I almost shit my pants. Then, which ones? And then they get embarrassed. They're afraid. It's all right. I'll protect you. They walk up. Well, as a group, who's full of more shit? And their dads are there. Sometimes their mom. They look at their parents. You know how when the kids not sure if they should answer? And then the father says, go ahead. And they won't. We know who they be pointing at, don't we? Out of the mouths of babes. But somehow you have to for this program to work the best, you have to justify the 5, 10, 15, 25 years you've been in business has been more or less a waste. Then, when you clean the plate and you start afresh, then you can make the shit work for you. And it'll be, so much more easy when you're not trying to justify why you weren't here 20 years ago, why you stayed with your wife even though you knew she was a cheating whore, why you praised your kid even though he was a crack heroin. When you get all that shit aside and the piece of paper is clean, you can really run through this shit because it's not not this one Simon said, but the webinar from years ago. It's not he said, excuse me, Mr. Peña, but it's not intellectually challenging at all. And it's like Atlas Shrugged pushing up a load of shit up a hill until you have a breakthrough. And then it's fun. And he kind of said the same thing today. And it is. But sometimes that fucking hill is longer than you think. And that load of shit, it starts oozing back on your hands and on your forearms, and it gets on your hand, and you keep pushing though. But once you get it up there and you have a breakthrough and a success, and it's better than 1,000 times better than the best sex you ever had. It's unbelievable because you have added value in no other way. And Simon said this kind of at the end of his talk. You mean something now. You're a person, as they say in New York. You're a fucking person, and it's a great feeling. And the longer you do it, the more you get used to it, and then it becomes your way of life. And then your default is QLA. My default is QLA.